rocks right here are full of metal. You see kind of a golden tint to them. I'm going to collect some metal instead and start going making some metal tools so that I can collect crystal next time I come on up here. And of course I broke that. That's awesome. Howdy y'all, welcome back to ARK Adventures. I am Bowden Maddox, and in this episode I'm going to try to hopefully do a little bit of farming, show you how to make dyes, and possibly even take our Pteranodon up into the sky. Let's see how that works. First thing you might notice, I don't know if you noticed it last time, I don't know if it was there last time, but that big rock that I used to climb up on to take a look around is no longer there. If I want to take a look around, I'm probably going to want to get on top of my building, and to do that I need some ladders, and I learned the ladder engram last time, and I made a couple ladders, and so I'm going to place a couple real quick, just for the heck of it here. And ladders in ARK are a little funky, I think. I mean, in a lot of games you just run up to them and just start going up, and you go up the ladder, but in ARK you can't do that. You have to basically go up, use your use key on it, and then you can move up and down. But that's okay. So now we're on top of our building. Cool, we got a ladder. Awesome. Alright. No changes to the dinos since last time you saw them. Pretty much the same. I got my two turtles on the other side of the building over there. We've got our crops, but they're not seeded. Crop plots, they are irrigated. We did do some fertilizer last time. We've actually been able to create a few pieces of fertilizer, and another fourth one's coming right there, apparently. Let me pull the seeds out of here. I got to get these clothes out of here too. But we're gonna grow a long grass, I think, a rock carrot, and a citronal right now, since we only have 3 fertilizers, so no point in seeding the others. But let's come down here, and you open up this plot, and let's drop in a rock carrot and a fertilizer for now. And you'll see that it says it's seeded. It's got 54,000 fertilizer units that will slowly start going away. Let's drop in our citronal and a fertilizer. And that one went fast. It already says it's a citronal seed seedling at 54,000. This one says it's a rock carrot seed seedling. Let's go back here. Pop in our long grass. Remember, that's like corn. And and that popped up right away when it's a seedling, doesn't it? These things will go through various stages. They start out at seedlings, and then they go seeding or something like that, or middling or something like that. Eventually, they start producing fruit. And when you open up the inventory, you will see the fruit appear in the slots. And the mediums can do, I think, up to 2 slots, and I think the larger ones can do even more stacks of produce, of crop. But for now, we've planted that, so let's get on with it. Oh, we got a blue drop coming, guys. We got a blue drop. Can't resist, but ooh, wouldn't it be nice to be able to fly over there real quick? We've reached a level where we can actually unlock a Pteranodon saddle. Let's go down here and find it. And it's right there. Let's learn it. See if we can build this real quick and fly our bird over. Alright. Oh, and by the way, I've set up a whole bunch of new boxes. And they're all labeled individually, but they're all the same color, so it's kind of hard to find. So we're going to talk about dyes here in a minute, but let me go to animal bits here, because we're going to need a bunch of fiber, or not of hide, I believe, to craft this thing. So what does it need? It needs the hide, which I got enough of right there, fiber 125, and either chitin or keratin 75. Let's go back to our animal bits then. Let's pull out 100 keratin, since we're going to use that chitin for armor later. And I said fiber, I think, didn't I? Did I say fiber? I did, 125. Oops, let's pull that over. We can craft our saddle now. Might as well throw that remaining fiber back, and the remaining animal bits back. Alright, we've got a saddle. Woohoo! Alright, Beaker. It's time to fly. Beaker doesn't have a lot of weight, so I'm going to cut the stack in half. Go ahead and just throw it on Perry real quick to hold it. And, here we go, folks. I might as well set Perry to neutral real quick, just so that, Beaker neutral, so Beaker can protect himself, and we're flying. And looking around before we land here at the beak, and at the drop. what is there? Let's get off. Check the inventory. Medium crop plot, don't care. Another stego saddle, might as well take it. I'm just going to leave the crop plot there. And if you leave something in the beacon, it just remains until it times out, and then it'll eventually break up and go away. And a little bit of a hitch. Thank you, Saved World, for freezing the game. And to land a bird, I mean, to fly a bird is really easy. Just get on it like any other saddled animal, and you point with your mouse, and you push forward. And if you point down, the bird goes down. If you point up, the bird goes up. And to get off the bird, you basically put him on the ground and hit your jump key, whatever your jump key is, and you jump off the saddle. You can also use your use key to get off the saddle, but if you do that in midair, you will fall to your death. So don't do that. Speaking of falling to your death, though, I'm going to set Beaker here real quick to be passive because I don't want him flying away. Or her flying away should something happen here. Speaking of that, there is something called a parachute, which I have found in the past to be extremely useful for those times when you just go crazy or a cat jumps on your keyboard or something and you go flying off your bird. Parachute's pretty early on, actually. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. Learn that Ingram real quick and see what I need to make it. And I need thatch, fiber, and tin hide to make a parachute. Animal bits. Tin hide, some thatch, and some fiber. How much fiber did I need? 20? Alright. And how much thatch did I need? 40. Alright. Got 40 exactly. Got a parachute brewing right now. Alright. I'm going to take that parachute for safety reasons and put it in 6. I'm going to take this stego saddle and put it way down here in my finished goods cabinet with the other stego saddle. And we're going to get back to dealing with Beaker and flying in a bit, but I wanted to do a couple of other things before we did that. I wanted to teach you guys about, I have no more spears, they've all broken as I was gathering hide. Teach you guys a bit about dyeing, dyes. And there's recipes up on the wiki. I told you about that, but there's a lot of the dyes are very simple. I collected a whole bunch of berries earlier with Perry, and I'm going to take them off Perry. Ha ha ha, same name. Take some reds, some yellows. Actually, I'll take a couple stacks of each. Some blues. And I don't have any blacks, but I have some whites. And I should probably go get some blacks, which I will do later. But the really basic colors are very simple. You take a water, and you need a water skin for that. And in fact, I might want to make even more water skins than I have. And that takes 4 hides and 12 fibers. How many of those can I make? Let's make a couple of those if I can. It'll just make life easier for me in transferring water back and forth. Let's make 2 more of those skins. Alright, and if I throw those skins in here as well, I thought I made 2 of those. I threw that stuff back before I finished making the last one, didn't I? You guys probably saw that. I've warned you about doing that, and I did it myself. Didn't wait till the last one was being made, did I? Okay, now I know the last one's being made. I don't like this scrolling along these cabinets until I find the one I want, so I definitely need to dye these cabinets different colors to make them more identifiable. Alright, so we've got our water skins up here, and all filled up, and what you need for the dyes are a combination of things. You need some charcoal. I'm going to pull some out of these fires here. You need a ignition source, of course. I'm going to actually pull some wood out as well. And for the base colors, you just need a dye of that color. So if I was to cook these 3, take these 3 waters and light this fire, I should get, each one of these will do 5 dyes. So I'll get 15, hopefully, blue dyes as a result of this effort. There's 5, right? And an empty water skin. 5 more in an empty water skin. Oh, that was a full water skin. Empty water skin. Let's go ahead and throw these while we're waiting back in here. Get them refilled. We should see our last dye. Let's go ahead and pull the blue out and the water skin. Let's throw in yellow and these water skins here, and let's fill up this water skin. It's a very tedious exercise, but you see the process. So I'm going to make some yellow dyes now, and then I'm going to go ahead and make a whole bunch of different colored dyes using this same process, and I'll be back in a bit. And we're back, and we've made a base color for everything that we can make with charcoal. There's a bunch of other dyes you can make with gunpowder as well. I haven't learned gunpowder yet, so I'm going to go ahead and learn spark powder, which is required, if I'm not mistaken, for gunpowder, because you need spark powder to make gunpowder. And then gunpowder, which comes a little later. There it is. Learn that. I might as well learn cementing paste, because I'm going to start using that pretty soon as well for some saddles and other things. And those are made on the mortar and pestle, of course, and the ingredients for spark powder is flint and stone, twice as much flint as stone. So if we go over to the stone cabinet, we pull out 100 stone, and I'm over encumbered already, so let's see if I can continue to walk when I take 200 flint here. Nope, can't do it. So let me stick some of these in the flint box. I'm going to dump off, not the berries, but the dyes. Let's see if that'll help at all. Those are all the base color dyes that you can make with charcoal. And yeah, barely. So that's good enough for now. Now I'm going to throw in thatch as the burning mechanism, burning material in here, because we don't want to generate gunpowder, because this requires gunpowder, or generate charcoal, pardon me, because this requires gunpowder. So let's go ahead and create some spark powder. About 200 of that. And you don't make a lot of XP for every spark powder you make. You notice how fastly you make it, how quickly you make it. You only learn like a 1/10 or something of an XP point. So it's not a quick way to rank up. But once we've generated enough of that, if we mix that with charcoal, we can generate some actual gunpowder. So I'm just going to knock off 42 of those real quick, since I don't think any of these dyes are going to require that much gunpowder. Alright, and we're back. And I have created dyes of various colors. And in order to put dye on a lot of things, you need a paintbrush. A paintbrush is an engram you can unlock, and I think it's also fairly early. There it is. Consumes 3 points. Let's go ahead and buy that. And see how much it takes to make a paintbrush. We're going to need wood, 3 hides, and 10 thatch. I'm using up all my hides. I want to make multiple paintbrushes, because if you don't use a paintbrush, you get several uses out of a paintbrush, and it uses up a piece of dye. And if you don't finish the use of the paintbrush and you change the color, you throw away a whole bunch of potential uses for that dye that you consumed. So let's go ahead and see how many paintbrushes we can make. I don't need 10, but let's do 5, 6. Let's do 6 and see if that'll do us for now. Okay, and how you apply the color to the paintbrush is to drag a dye onto a brush. It becomes that colored paintbrush. Let's take an orange. I know I'm going to use that. I know I'm going to use a yellow. I know I'm going to use a blue. I do believe I'm going to use a white, I'm pretty sure. And I think I'm going to use a tan as well for now. So let's do that. Let's throw this thatch back and this wood back. And my precious little hide. I need to go out hunting some more. And I'm actually going to put the dyes themselves right now over in this cabinet that I've called compounds. The ones that I don't need any more of at the moment, that I've already taken paintbrushes for. Orange, and I'm probably missing something here. I know I'm missing something here. Tan. Oh, good enough. And blue. Alright. Now, we have a blue blueprint chest over here. And the way you use the paintbrushes is you can either put it down in your bar and push the number, or just use it, put it in your hand, and just apply it to something. In this case, I want to paint this bookshelf. I want to paint it blue because it's where my blueprints are, just for the heck of it. So I've made it blue in the bottom. You can paint different regions as well. Finished goods, no. Tools and weapons, clothing, no. Crystal and obsidian. Let's take white and use that because I know that I'm going to make the stone box white. And twist this around a little bit. I want to go ahead and make the top part white. That's all I really care to make white, and it becomes pretty obvious what it is. You got wood. I'm going to leave it wood color. Thatch, I'm actually going to make the tan color, I believe. And I believe that, did I say region 1? I did. Dye it. And you notice that this is how much dye is left on the paintbrush. And that painting only took a little bit of it. So if you were to repaint this dye now, kind of waste the rest of that dye. So that's why I try to make a lot of paintbrushes. Yellow, I think would be good for fiber, perhaps. Looking at the color of the items, it's almost backwards. In fact, it is backwards. Thatch is more yellow, isn't it? So we're going to go ahead and change this to be yellow. And we're going to change this one to be tan. Try to match the color of the actual item that I've got in there. Oops. Alright, now this is flint and metal. Well, we do have metal. We do have an orange. And orange is pretty much the color of flint, so let's go ahead and paint this one orange. And there we go. Charcoal is pretty black. I don't have a black paintbrush right now, so I'm going to leave it alone. Do we have a red paintbrush? We do. I like to paint my animal bits red, just kind of, you know, not to be gory, but blood is red. And animal, when you're hunting animals, you tend to make them bloody, and you need to stop hitting that button. Oil and pearls. I tend to make that purple, but I don't have a purple paintbrush right now. So I think I'm going to stop right now on those. The compounds one, even though I don't really need to do one right here, I like to use multiple colors on this one. And what I tend to do is I tend to make the base kind of a white color. And I don't mean the bottom, I mean the main part of it. And then I switch to, say, a blue, because it's where my dyes are going to go as well. And I'll make that part kind of a blue. And then what other colors do I have here? Orange, yellow, I guess yellow for the bottom. For region, or for the top cross beams, region 3. It kind of works. Wait a minute. I did something wrong, didn't I? I meant to have yellow on the bottom. Bottom. There you go. And blue was on top. In fact, I think I can change... Can I still do this? They improved this interface quite a bit. Yes. Cool. If you have paintbrushes or dyes in your inventory, you can switch on the fly without having to close the paint interface. So there's my compounds box. This is a temporary storage box, no big deal. So that's pretty cool. Another cool thing you can do with dyes is you can dye your own clothing, of course, as well. So if I wanted to make some of my armor a forest green color, say I wanted to make part of my top forest green underneath the leather, I can do that, and I can apply that to all of the pieces of armor I've got that have that particular component. And drag that forest green. I don't think the boots have anything like that. They just have laces. So we'll leave the boots alone and put on the hands. I think the hands do have a component like that. They do. So now, if you look at Astrid, she's got a nice forest green color in there as well. So that's pretty cool. So you can do that. You can also do it to saddles. We've got a saddle on Beaker, and you can try to make the saddles complement the colors of the animal. Beaker's got kind of a green beak, doesn't he? Or she. So you can take the green, which I will do, and if you open up the inventory here, let's try to take Well, I think you got to drag. If you throw the green in there, you can do it this way. And do zoom in on this saddle to take a look at it. See if we can add some green accents to it like that. Maybe make those little bits green. That's probably good enough, right? And there we go. Little green accents to go with the green beak. That's pretty cool. Perry. It kind of matches you already, Perry, so I think we're good to go there. So anyway, that's how dies work. So pretty cool. I thought you might appreciate that. Another thing we want to do, now that I've shown you how to, let me put all this stuff away, shown you how to make spark powder, is the preserving bin. I told you when we unlocked that a little while ago and bought that engram, spent the points on it, that it allows us to preserve, obviously, based on its name, meats and other things a lot longer. Now, the way preserving works in this game and spoiling works in this game is things on your hand, things you're holding in your inventory, in your backpack, spoil the fastest. Things that are on an animal spoil a little slower, and things that are in a preserving bin spoil even slower. And then, of course, things that are in a refrigerator, when you finally have electricity, will spoil even slower. I mean, they take a long time to spoil. But we're going to make a preserving bin here, and that's going to require stone, wood, thatch, and fiber. Let's make one of those real quick. Stone, wood, I sure hope I'm taking enough of this stuff. Thatch, the color coding helps. And fiber. And did I get enough for preserving bin? I did. I'm going to craft just one of them right now. So I'm going to put away the fiber, the thatch, the wood, and the stone. And I'm going to use this preserving bin, and I want to place this, yeah, right over here. Right against this wall would be nice. And preserving bins, if you look at them, if you open it up, store your perishables with spark powder to preserve. Use spark powder, oil, and cooked meat to make jerky. Well, jerky, okay, raw meat spoils the fastest. Cooked meat spoils more slowly. And jerked meat, spoils even slower. So for our personal use, it'd be kind of cool if we could do that. Let's grab some of that spark powder. Let's grab 100 units. And first of all, stick the 100 units in here. And then I've got some cooked meat on me, but I've also got some cooked meat out here on Perry. I think on this Perry. No, wrong Perry. On this Perry. There it is. I'm going to throw that cooked meat in there. And I'm also going to throw in some oil. I don't have a lot of oil, but I have some. It takes about 1 oil unit to make a jerky. 1 oil unit per meat. So if I throw in 10 here, I should hopefully over time get maybe 10 pieces of meat jerky, which would be really cool. Meat jerky is not only useful because it lasts longer, but it's also used in a lot of kibble recipes, which is kind of cool. So we're going to let that run like that, just fine. And that's pretty good. We've made the pterodon saddle. And I think the last thing we should do to wrap out this video is take a little trip on the pterodon, on Beaker, and look around the island and see what we can see and figure out things to do. I'm going to first tell him to follow me. In fact, I'm going to land him. Sorry. And they land in funny ways. We got enough meat for this trip. I'm going to set to neutral, so protect yourself. Tell her to stop following me for a moment. I'm going to offload some of my stuff here in temporary storage, actually, because I want to lighten my load, because she's not strong enough yet to really take everything I've got, my entire weight. So I'll keep the essentials. I don't really need a torch right now, because I hope to be back before dark anyway. So Beaker. I keep saying Terry, don't I? Why do I say Terry? Beaker to follow. And as with the other animals I was telling you about, they have their own stats. And birds are great because you can kind of hover here too. Pterodons, as well as the Argentavis, which are the more eagle-like birds, you can kind of hover. They have their own stats indicators on the right top of the screen there. Weight is pretty good. She's not overburdened. She's full of food. Her stamina is slowly decreasing, and she's got great health right now, and she's about to level up. When you sprint, which you can do, the stamina is eaten much faster. Now, pterodons are kind of quick already. They're not really slow. And one of the great things you can do with pterodons and any birds, too, is you can use that cinematic camera and peel back as you're flying in a straight line and see all sorts of things. Look at the brontosaurus over there. You got a stegosaurus below us. You got a T-Rex over there on the riverside. You got a triceratops. You can see all of this stuff. It's really cool. Another pterodon. One thing we really wanted to do once we had Terry was go get some crystals so we can make some other stuff. So I guess that's probably what we should do right now. Let's stay back in our normal view so we can see our stamina, because you want to land before the stamina goes away, because otherwise the bird will just descend straight down. Wherever the bird is, it'll just slowly descend to the ground, straight down, even if you're over water, and drop you off. And that could be really nasty if it drops you off in the middle of a river, drops you off in the ocean where there's megalodons, drops you off right next to a T-Rex on the side of a river like we saw before. So you got to be really careful of your stamina when you're in a pterodon or an Argentavis. And Argy. So we're going to fly up to this red, the top of the red tower, the mountain over here. This is a really nice mountain. Reason being, it's one of the mountains that doesn't really have a lot of animals spawning on top of it, but it's got a lot of resources up there. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to put my camp where I put it, is because this is a great mountain for resources. And you don't have to worry too much, and I should have brought that torch, because it's very cold up here. You don't have to worry too much about predators when you're collecting your resources. There are predators on the sides of the hill. In fact, you can see an Argentavis over on the left, I think, or maybe that's a T-Rex. That looks like a T-Rex, actually, yeah. There's T-Rexes and Carnos and saber-toothed tigers, and there's scorpions, and there's the Argentavis, the big birds are up here as well. So it's a really dangerous place to be if you're not well protected, or you don't have a lot of armor or weapons and that sort of thing. Or if you're not at the very tippy top, which hopefully is not going to have any animals on it. I also thought that the place I was going to set up my camp didn't have a lot of T-Rexes wandering by, but, you know, we saw how that went. Alright, I'm going to go back to the cinematic real fast and take a look at our approach here and see what we've got in front of us. Looks pretty clean. Stamina's still holding out on Beaker. And looks like we're going to be lucky here, and there's nobody down here to molest us, which is really good. In case you're wondering, this is what's beneath each of those towers, and this is a place where you can summon bosses to fight, for boss fights. Right now, I think the only one you can summon is the Broodmother, and you basically have to supply all of that stuff there on the list, all those tributes, and then you can actually click on that and summon the Broodmother, which I don't really want to do right now, but I don't even have the items to do it anyway. But I came up here for some crystals, and there they are over there. If you take your pickaxe, and I may not be able to get crystals, I just realized, with a stone pickaxe. I sure hope I can. Oh, I may not be able to, guys. Actually, I don't think I've ever tried to harvest crystals with a stone pickaxe. I might have to go get some metal. Okay, I can't get crystals, so instead I'm going to use these metal rocks here. These rocks right here are full of metal. You see kind of a golden tint to them. I'm going to collect some metal instead and start going making some metal tools, so that I can collect crystal next time I come on up here. And of course I broke that. That's awesome. But I did collect some metal and got some back at the base, and you've seen what I've tried to show you here about being able to use the pterodon to get up to great places here. So I'm going to head on back, make my metal, collect a whole bunch more metal offline, and make some metal tools, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.